Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in to Jack's Drinkwater Southern Cooking and Barbecue. Today's video is gonna be all about smoked meatloaf. Now this meatloaf recipe is gonna make you meatloaf skeptics, die-hard meatloaf fans. First thing we wanna do is start out with some bacon. About 6 slices. Special shout out to Vivor, which is the sponsor of this video. They provided this griddle for me in order to do this video. One of the things about Vivor is these come in Celsius only, so you do have to look up those numbers if you're not familiar with the conversion from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Also want to mention this is a great tabletop griddle. I actually have this on a plastic table and you can put your hand under it. There's no heat, so you don't have to worry about wherever you have this burning up your countertop. So just keep that in mind. Okay, I'm liking the looks of this bacon. We just want to be able to get this crispy enough so we can chop it up into chunks because we're going to be mixing that into our meatloaf. It's first time cooking on this Vivor. I'm liking it. The temperature seems to be relatively more hot in the middle and the other side's cooler, so just keep that in mind. You may, if you're cooking bacon or something. Kind of a good thing and a bad thing, I guess. If you wanted the whole thing to be the same temperature all the way around, it would be a bad thing, but if you wanted to be able to move things off to keep it a little bit cooler or more warm, I guess it would be a good thing. So our bacon's done. Let's start mixing up this meatloaf. Start out with 2 eggs. Give it a little whiskey. Next up, a 1/4 cup of milk going into our eggs. Give that a little stir about. Now to that mixture, we're gonna add a 1/2 cup of panko breadcrumbs. We're gonna give this a stir about, and then we're just gonna set it aside while we deal with our meat. Starting out with 2 pounds of ground beef. It's really 2.2 pounds, but we're not gonna split hairs, so let's just call it 2. To that, we're gonna add 1 sweet onion that we've chopped up. And remember, if you want to, you can saute these up. That's up to you. So I'm using fresh parsley here. I'm just tore off about a fistful and chopped it up. We're gonna throw that in there. Now, if you didn't have fresh parsley, which I think is best, you could use, let's call it 2 teaspoons of dried parsley. 3 cloves of minced garlic. 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. So our panko breadcrumbs have been marinating in this egg and milk wash. I don't know if you'd call it a wash. But anyway, it's been marinating. We're gonna dump that in there now. And lastly, a teaspoon of kosher salt. Now, have you ever had that dense meatloaf?
Yeah!
Well, this ain't gonna be a dense meatloaf. It's gonna be a good, moist meatloaf. So what you need to do is don't overwork your meat. So we're just barely gonna toss this around. Nice and mixed up. Let's throw this onto our table here. And we'll start forming our loaf up. No rhyme or reason with this. You just wanna make sure everything looks uniform. Let's press down first. I'm liking the shape of this, so what I'm gonna do now is transfer this over to a cooling rack. Season with your favorite barbecue rub. I'm gonna be using this John Henry's Jalapeno Ranch. One thing good about this cooling rack is you can lift it up to get the sides and everything. That's a little tip. We're all seasoned up. It's time to put it on the Lone Star Grill. I'm gonna be smoking it on the top rack. I'm also gonna be putting a temp probe in there. I'm using the Maverick Pro. Links will be below for all of that. Actually, you know what? Let's just do this. All right, we're just gonna sit this in there just like so. Let's see what we're gonna do. Go right in the center here. Perfect. All right, let's close that up before we lose all our heat. All right, remember, 250 degrees. We're gonna probably smoke this for an hour and a half, 2 hours, see where we're at, and then we're gonna start glazing it every 30 minutes. All right, so I know that somebody is out there has already realized, hey, where's the bacon at? Well, I didn't put it in there. It's been like 15 minutes since I put this on. So there's no going back now. So don't be a douchebag like me and forget to put your bacon in there. It's been 1 hour. Let's just give a little peek at this and see what the color looks like. Internal temperature right now is 107 degrees. So we're about 15 minutes away before our 2 hour mark. We're gonna start to baste. Let's go ahead and mix up our sauce. Now, glaze is kind of whatever you wanna do. I'm gonna share with you my recipe. I think this goes great with meatloaf. I use this all the time, not only for meatloafs, but also glazes for other things. I even put this stuff on tacos. But what it is it's Meat Mitch, and I'll show you a clip of this, but it's Meat Mitch and also San Marcos Chipotle salsa. And I use about 75% Meat Mitch to 25% San Marcos Chipotle salsa. And as you can see here, I already have some made up, but we're just gonna add to that. So just gonna eyeball this. And then we'll top the rest off. A little bit more. Give it a stir, give it a taste, see if that's where you want it, and you can add more or less of either one. We're at the 2 hour mark. We're at 135 degrees internal on this meatloaf. Let's start basting. I'm basting for the second time. Remember, we want to baste this every 30 minutes. And I also just flipped this around. So this was the end that was facing over there. We also got some smoked burgers going out there. I got a video on that. I'll leave a link up here. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. So we've been going just almost 6 hours, and we're just shy of the 6 hour mark. We're at an internal temp of 155. So we're gonna pull this because we're gonna let it rest a few minutes. Hope it'll raise 5 or 6 degrees. And all right, she looks beautiful. We have lost the light out here. It's 4 o'clock. It's getting dark. We got overcast. It's raining. I'm sure you can hear that. So sorry about the lighting. All right, 5 minutes, we'll be back. We're gonna slice into it and see how we did. All right, let's slice into this badger. Go right here first, get that little bell end off. All right. Oh. Hang on, I'm gonna pull that off to the side. Let's do that little smoke ring. Nice little smoke ring. You can see she's tender. She's falling apart. See how we did. Very moist, very flavorful. A pretty good lot of heat with that chipotle pepper on. Impressive. I mean, I can't lie. I've done this plenty of times, probably I don't know, half dozen times that we've made this exact same recipe, and it comes out great every time. Big shout out to Lone Star Grills. If you love the looks of them, go check them out. I'll leave a link below. Also want to thank Vivor for providing that griddle for us so we could cook that bacon. Hit the subscribe button and give this video a like. All right, guys, until next time, smoked meatloaf on your Lone Star Grills. Do it.